to have you here with you. We really wanted some athletes here, but one of the stats that I always tell people when we go out to speak to groups and organizations or to individuals, 52% of our athletes work that are in Special Olympics Missouri. So a lot of them are working today. We're not able to get here, but our athletes were excited about the announcement that we're going to make to you today. And we really want to recognize our athletes too, because one thing the athletes did, they've been raising money for the Training for Life campus too. And we have 131 athletes that signed up for what we call the charter class to raise money for the campus. And those athletes have raised over $184,000 for the campus. So I think even if they're not here, we're going to applaud them. I want to share you one story about an athlete that's been going with us quite often. Carol and I, when we go out to groups, is Derek Sambody. Well, Derek's an athlete that just loves what's going to happen in the Training for Life campus, and he signed up right away to become one of those charter members. Well, we went out to one of the Rotary clubs and was doing our talk to that Rotary. And one thing, Derek kind of told his story. And his story that he tells is, and I can't do it justice like he can, but the one thing he talked about was his brother and sister were very athletic and in sports in high school, and they got a letter jacket. And one thing we're doing with our athletes is they raise money. There's different levels that they can get some incentives there. The highest level is $5,000, and they can receive a Special Olympics letter jacket. Well, Derek wanted one of those, and I don't remember the exact number, but he was somewhere around the $3,500 level. And he said, my brother and sister has always had a letter jacket. I'm going to earn my own letter jacket for Special Olympics by raising that $5,000. Well, he touched numerous people in the audience, of course, but there was one member that kind of stepped up and decided that they want their Rotary to step up and help Derek make that. And that Rotary pledged some money to Derek, and it actually put him over his goal. And the type of people our athletes are, Derek said, well, I don't need that much, so why don't we give the other money to some of the other athletes, and that can help them get there too. And he's now, with multiple Rotaries, has helped 2 or 3 other athletes reach their $5,000 level also. So that's the kind of excitement that they have about the campus, and we want to share that with you. Now, many of you know, probably the reason you're here is we had a Mabee Challenge grant. The Mabee Foundation out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, gave us a challenge to raise $1 million. That challenge started April 15th last year. It ended April 15th this year, but we did get a nice 6-week extension, and the deadline was May 27th. But I'm glad, I'm proud, excited, ecstatic really, to be able to announce that we've achieved that $1 million challenge grant from the Mabee organization. We were able to announce this last weekend at our Special Olympics Summer Games, and the athletes were pretty ecstatic. We had all the athletes there on that, and it was a great announcement because that allows us to build the Training for Life campus building that we have to be able to host our central area as well as our statewide offices there, as well as some of the facilities. So that's going to give us that opportunity there. With this challenges and with the dollars that we've raised, it really puts us in the position now to move forward. And in March of next year is our plan to start building the building part of the campus and get that rolling. But we're going to be raising money through the end of the year, so we don't want to stop. We're not going to stop raising dollars because there's still some other activities outside with some of the fields and some of the turf and some of the different things that we'd like to do outside to be able to get lights on the facility. So we're going to be raising money through the end of the year. We do have a few people that we need to thank that's kind of helped us brought here and really made the difference to us. And one of them is Centene Charitable Foundation. They was one of the first people to give us a large pledge of over $1 million. And each one of these groups that I mentioned, they've helped us at least at $1 million level or above. The other is the Farmer Holding Company and Twee House Excavating. As you know, they announced the donation of the land, which was a big piece for us. The other one is our Law Enforcement Torch Run. They do things for us all year long, but they also have pledged $1 million to the campus for their efforts that they do. And then the last one is our Knights of Columbus. It's the statewide councils that are working to raise $1 million plus for our campus also that kind of put us over those areas. Now, a couple other people that have been instrumental in kind of helping us really reach that goal. One is our governor, Governor Jay Nixon, has been very instrumental and with us from the very get-go and from the start of this campus and the belief that we have in the campus, and has been very instrumental. And the other one is Senator Roy Blunt. And Senator Blunt was down at summer games this weekend, and one of the questions he's asked, Gary, how's it going? And we was able to let him know that we met that challenge. So as elected officials, and there's other elected officials, some of them that's here, as well as others, it's been very instrumental also, and we want to thank them for that. Our civic progress group, and some of them are here, if they would, wave their hands, because they attended a few meetings. Come on, I see a few of you. And there's a couple I know they couldn't make it today. But our Civic Progress Committee was instrumental in helping us raise over $1 million for the campus too. And for myself, and being a Jefferson City person, I'd like to thank them for those efforts also. So, to date, we've raised over $16 million. That's in pledges, cash, in-kind services that we've raised. As I said earlier, we do have some additional dollars we want to raise because we want to complete the outdoor field, being field turf. We want some lights on those fields, some other things on that. So we're going to be raising money through the end of the year. We still do have tax credits available. So anyone that, you know, if your heart is wanting to give now, if you haven't, we'll still take donations. And you can get some tax credits from that, because I kind of told the team we celebrate it this weekend, and this kind of becomes the end of the celebration, and then it's kind of like, let's get back to work. They kind of called me the coach or the cheerleader, I don't know which one, but I said then we've got a big push between the end of the year. We're excited next March to be able to turn some ground and start the building process of it, and then we'll kind of continue on that process. The goal is it'll take about a year, a little more for a year to build the campus, and then to be able to open it in 2018. And that's kind of our time frame that we're looking at, so it's kind of an exciting time here. I'd like to allow Randy Allen from the Jefferson City Area Chamber of Commerce to come out and say a few words, and I really we appreciate from the board. People have to ask me all the time. I'm one of 21 members on the board. Yes, I'm from Jefferson City, and I love Jefferson City as our hometown. But it's a statewide, and when we chose to come to Jefferson City to put the Training for Life campus, it was because of the community that came together and put a proposal together, city, county, chamber, everyone that was involved in that made that happen. And I know, Randy, you spearheaded some of that effort, so if you would, come on up and say a few words for us.
Thank you, Gary. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Just wanted to kind of reiterate the long-term project that this was for our community. As you may remember, this project was going to Columbia, Missouri several years ago, and I know that they had worked pretty hard to acquire a site and start raising money. We kind of got the idea that that probably shouldn't happen, and so we kind of worked on a project to bring it back to Jefferson City, and many of you in this room were involved in that. And we were successful in doing that. And about a year ago, we announced, the Special Olympics announced, Missouri announced that this project would come to Jefferson City. As Gary already mentioned, several people were instrumental in that process, but I wanted to particularly thank the community groups and those that were involved. The local hospitals and healthcare providers provided, or will provide some support during the operation of this, and that was really big. And then a handful of folks that really put their skills to the grindstone to raise some additional money, as Gary said, for the local community. Ken Littlefield, Greg Bexton, Ken Therhoff, Chip Webb, who is here today, along with Bob Gilbert and former Mayor Eric Strump. So I really thank those folks. They were instrumental in working long hours the last year to be able to help raise that money. And I think this is really exciting for a lot of things, and I also want to recognize Scott Hovis that's here today. His project out across the river at Turkey Creek, the Ken Lanning 9-hole golf course, is a huge benefit also to this and to our community. So sometimes all these things work in terms of critical mass and bring things together. So my thanks also to Missy Bono, who was primarily our staff person that was responsible for putting all this proposal together. And frankly, as those of you know that put proposals together for things, this is no easy task. And she was able to gather the community support for this and bring it home. So I also want to recognize our board members that are here today, the chamber board members that were helpful in helping push this past. And then finally, 2 members of our elected officials that were instrumental in bringing a infrastructure grant to provide sewer to this site because it did not have site. That will not only help this project, but will help future projects across the road there. Carrie Turgeon, the mayor. Carrie, thank you very much for assisting with that with the city council. And Jeff Helsher, county commissioner. These guys work diligently with the chamber to bring projects to the community, and they are never, ever weak when it comes to infrastructure for our community and these projects. So thank you, Gary. Thanks for all you do. I mean, we are lucky to have a Gary Wilbers in our community, and Special Olympics of Missouri, you're lucky to have him on your staff. So thank you very much.
That's really all of our comments. You've got a press packet. If there is a question or two, I'll try to answer it. If I can't, I'll just tell you I can't.
Just to be clear, this money puts you over the top in terms of getting the building built. You still need the money for the parking lot, the track, the lighting.
Yeah.
But you will break ground and go ahead.
Yes, we will move.
Without the full amount of money.
Yes, we will fully move. We may have to scale back some of those outdoor facilities, like we would like to have lights and some of those others. So that's where we're going to continue to raise money through the end of the year to be able to get the dollars in for those. But if we don't, then some of those things may be scaled back in the beginning. But it'll give us the facility, it'll give us the gym, it'll give us the majority of the pieces that we want. We would love to have turf, of course, because just like you saw today, it rains this morning. If they're at camp, if it's turf, they could be out on that really right now. Where if it's grass, that may change. So there's some kind of those wish lists that we'd like to do there.
So would you do it in phases for the outdoor aspects possibly, if you, as the money comes in kind of a thing?
No real phases. We'll continue on. Those would just be pieces that would be added more later that maybe would have to kind of be put down lower on the scale because we don't want to kind of consider it phases because we're going to go forward. We're going to be able to have camps in 2018 one way or another.